Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili Nishmas Imi Merosi Rusbus Mordechai, live from Oxnard, California, at the schus of spending minyonim of Shabbos, all the minyonim of Shabbos in a Chabad house of Oxnard, California. First time in my life. I'm 51 years old, first time ever in a Chabad house. And I have to tell you, I was very, very impressed. The Rav, I don't want to mess up his name. I'm very bad with names. He said he's also bad with names, so maybe it's a good shidduch. Muchnik or something like that. Muchnik, very, very special individual. Big Talmud Chacham, great speaker. Gewaldig. They did tremendous stuff over there. We have a lot to learn. And I took some notes, how we can help MDY. I think we have to go into a business with the Bet Chabads. We have to do like a shutfas. I didn't tell him my idea because obviously he's going to laugh at me. But we have to have, in every Bet Chabad in the world, we have to have an MDY screen so that people all over the world could watch Daf Yomi wherever they go. Ha, what an idea. Unbelievable. It'll never happen, but it's good. It's worth dreaming about. Rabbi Isai, I got a Givaldic email, but there's two things that's Givaldic about this email. First of all, it's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yitzi and Yitzchak from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And they say, I hope this email finds you. First of all, loving your steak in a box concept to remember the destruction of Bet HaMikdash. I hope this email finds you well. Greeting from Tulsa, Oklahoma. We wanted to reach out to express our admiration for your brilliant idea of having a steak in a box as part of your dinner table setting to remember the destruction of the Holy Temple. It's such a unique and creative concept, both intriguing and elegant. The way it encapsulates tradition with a modern twist is truly remarkable. I can only imagine the conversations it will spark at the table. Keep on daffing, I think he wants to say, or keep on daring. From Yitzi and Yitzchak, Yesher Koyach. Shlomo Forcham also says, Hi Rebelli, I like the idea of Zeichel Churban plate. Shlomo Forcham. So go tell my Chavrusa. He did not like the idea, and he says, he asked me to please not mention it in shir. So when he tells me that kind of stuff, you know that's the first thing I'm going to mention as I start the shir. Hi Rebelli, hi Rebbe. Hi Rebbe, good vach. My mother was suddenly nifteres day after Tisha B'Av. I just got out from Shiva. Losing my mother was sudden and terrible and still don't know how to deal with it. But the worst part of Shiva, not being allowed to learn, not even allowed to listen to Rebbe and the Shir, Baruch Hashem, back. And now, in my spare time, trying to make up for the lost Dapim, Kol Tov, Rebbe. Your David Vanderveld. Oh. My Rebbe said that as an Ovel, I'm allowed to come to Shavaton, unless Rebbe tells me not to, LOL. Love you, David Tzvi, Vanderveld, Lakewood, New Jersey. First of all, and if your Rav says you come to the Shabbaton, come to Shabbaton. I'm not a Rav, I don't paskin. First of all, just because you're an Avelos doesn't mean that the whole MDY has to be an Avelos. And by you not coming to the Shabbaton, we're all going to be in Avelos. What are you talking about? Remember, whoever was there last year at the Shabbaton, so Sunday morning we got into a room and we said, let's make all these phone calls and we'll get people back on the daf. And some people told me afterwards, I read emails, and it was the highlight of the Shabbos. They were so excited about calling people, and people said, yeah, okay, I'll rejoin. You're right. It's time to get back on the daf. So, Be'ez Hashem, we should do it again this coming year. But Rabbi Vanderveld, he was the winner. He got the most people. I think it was 20. I don't know how many people he got from phone calls. Next email. Drop the mic. Such a real kite. At the beginning and end of tonight's daf, I did not realize what an accomplishment finishing Cheskes Habadim was until the final few seconds of your shir. Thank you for sharing your raw emotions with us. It was a super special moment. Your Talmud and Chassid, Dov Eisenberger, Englewood, New Jersey, Yeshkoyach, Dov. So here's the yeshiva bacher. He says, I'm a regular yeshiva guy. I learn the regular Hespekim of the yeshiva during the year. He learns very well. Everything's great. The problem is, I don't like yeshivas ben azmanim. So in Eretz Yisrael, they have a yeshiva. They pay boys to learn there during ben azmanim. Doesn't like it that much. So I would find myself many times going through entire Ben Azmanim without opening up the Gemara, without learning even one daf. The whole year, I'm learning approximately a daf a day or whatever. In Ben Azmanim, nothing. One of my friends told me about MDY in Hebrew. I started listening to the Shurim. I loved it. And then I find myself learning a daf a day during Ben Azmanim, and I could continue my, how do you say it in English? Daf Yomi is the consistency of the whole year. And then he writes in parentheses, he says, you might not like the fact that I don't learn Daf Yomi the whole year round. So to that I tell him, no, you're a yeshiva guy, I have no problem with yeshiva guys not learning Daf Yomi. I don't have a problem with people learning Torah, any type of Torah they want. I just think Daf Yomi is the most consistent type of Torah for Balabatim. A guy that's learning yeshiva daily, his darim and everything, then I don't really push Daf Yomi unless they're not doing the right thing, they're wasting time. So Daf Yomi could be a great way to gain a lot of Yedidiyas and Shas, etc., etc. Anyway, Akiva Ayin, and he does this thank you. He stole the thank you Hashem. So I was going to make a macha. I put it into the chart, so I'll show it. Because this is really for thank you Hashem. He does thank you Rebelli. Cute. Okay. I'm making a macha though. Baruch Hashem, we made it home. RBSA. Thursday afternoon, as new Olim, even though you were on the road, the first thing I did, so he made Aliyah on Thursday. First thing he did was check the time for Shachris at MDY. Friday morning, I made sure to daven there and listen to the shir. Looking forward to greeting you in Beis Medrash when you get back, not as a visitor, but as an RBS resident this time. Your Talmud since Masechtas Rosh Hashanah, Yaakov Zaret. As soon as Motzei Shabbos came out, we heard the news that Israel did a preemptive strike on Lebanon, and it's a little bit of a mess, and the airport shut down for a little bit, and Benny told me that he was on his way to the airport, and they told him to go home, and now he's back. He just sent me a message, I'm back, going back. So Be'ezer Hashem, things should calm down, and there should be true shalom and peace, and our enemy should be destroyed and forgotten about, and Be'ezer Hashem, Mashiach should come b'karov. The coil of the month is sponsored by Binyomin Rosenfeld for Hatzlach business. The Masech is sponsored by the safe and speedy return of all the hostages. Paras HaChodesh Leilin Nishmas Zechariah Ben Moshe Leilin Nishmas Chai Bas Yosef. Paras HaChodesh Yedidya Pereira. Thank you for your tfilos. Bechazei Hashem Yehonathan Osher Yehuda Ben Michal was granted bail to his home in the UK. Paras HaChodesh, I saw somebody said maybe it's not true. We're going to say it's true. Binyomin Rosenfeld with gratitude to Reb Biderman, Reb Eli, Gedale Fenster for his podcast. Michael Safdie, Yosef Billyack, Parnas Hayoim by Yosef Billyack. 300 weeks with MDY, which is 68 months or 2,098 days of learning the Daf of the Rebelli. I started Chullin Daf Beis, November 29th, 2018. Thank you. So it's not quite 2711, but it's 2098. He's getting there. Wow. 2018. That's 6 years ago. Unbelievable. Aaron Koslowitz. Harav, Nota Tzvi ben Eliyahu Koslowitz. Koslowitz, whose yarztat is today. And by Mordechai Zapaznik, Yeshukach Rebelli for making Perik Cheskes Nabatim Geshmak. Thank you, Mordechai. And the Paras HaChodesh for the art. For Schos, for Rebelli, and the whole MDY staff to continue to make Torah so enjoyable for so many. Rabbi Isai, today we have a very, very interesting daf. In fact, if you look at Amud Beis, Amud Aleph, in the Gemara, look at the Rashbam, you might get dizzy by all the pictures, you might get scared. I'm here to tell you, it's simple, it's Geshmak. It doesn't lend to a lot of stories and jokes and musar or anything like that, but it's very, very Geshmak. So we're holding on Daf Samach Aleph Amud Beis, 8 lines from the bottom. We're going to try to do a shir in 30 minutes. What do you say? It's Motzei Shabbos. It's getting late. I have to catch a flight to Chicago. I have to get up very soon. So Mark was at Tzaddik and he said we should do these 2 shiurim so that I could travel and not worry about it tomorrow. And tomorrow we're going to do another 2 shiurim so that basically I could get back to Israel on Wednesday and not have to give a shir on Wednesday morning. Zog the Gemara, I know the Olam is very upset that it's only 30 minutes and they want the 40, 45, 50. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. Ahu the Omar Leila Chavrei. Ara the Bechim is Abnan Aloch. A guy says, I have the famous, Reb Chaim Kanievsky's property. You want Reb Chaim Kanievsky? He owns it, but it's called Reb Chia's property. Now pay attention. He said Ara. Ara is in singular, it means one. How do you say two properties in Aramaic? Arosa. Ara, one, arosa, two. So he said, I'm telling you one. But the Gemara tells us, Havele, Tarti Arosa. Here, he had two fields that have the name Reb Chia's fields. Dav Miskarin de Bechia. So now there's a feud, there's a machloeks between the seller and the buyer. The buyer said, I bought Reb Chia's fields. He said, no, but I said field. So they go to Rav Ashi, he said one, so obviously the seller is right. So which one of the two does he give him? Whichever one he feels like. The seller is in control and he can give him either one of the two. And now we're going to build up on this. But if he in fact said the word arasa, which is plural, stama, he has to give him in fact two fields. And what if he owns 14 fields from Reb Chia? He has to give him 2 out of the 14. Which 2? The ones he decides to give. And if he said all the land, all the properties, not properties, but all the fields, he has to give him all the fields that he has. The barme bustane, besides the gardens, upardese, and the vineyards we once had. Pardese means pomegranate orchard. Very means vineyard. And if you use the lashon zihara, it includes everything, the gardens and the vineyards. Lebar, besides, mibate, houses, it does not include houses. Vavde, it doesn't include slaves. Daf, Samach Beis, Amud Aleph, don't get all excited. It's short, but it's going to take a little bit of time to explain these diagrams, which are very, very simple. And if he said, I'm giving you all the belongings, includes even houses and slaves, but not movable objects. Says the Gemara. Here we go, Rabbi Isai. Let me show you picture number 1. Very, very simple. There's a field in the middle, depicted by red and green. That's the field in the middle. The guy is being lazy with the way he describes the field. He says, the field I'm telling you is between the field of Reuven on the east, on the right side, and between the field of Shimon on the west. As you can see, there's one long line and one short line, depicted in highlight green. Okay. So which one is it? Did he give him the entire field, the length of the long line, or the length of the short line? Omarav. So matzaloi metzer echad aroich umetzer echad katzar. One was the long line, one was the short line. One was the length of Reuven's field, one was the length of Shimon's field. Omarav lekonah lekineg that katzar. He only gets. So I should have started out like this. Sorry, this way. Long line, short line. Says Rav, he only gets what's depicted in red. Ask the Gemara, Rav, why is that? Perhaps the reason why he said Reuben's long line and Shimon's short line is because he's supposed to connect the dot, the bottom of Shimon's line to the bottom of Reuben's line, and let's make one straight line there, and it goes like this. Boom. That's Keneged Reish Tar. So it's not an even shaped piece of land. But the reason why he used Reuven as the border is because it's to the bottom of Reuven's border and to the bottom of Shimon. And now we have an interesting shape, lot size. This is a continuation of what we're learning. Meitzar, Hirchiv Loi. Sometimes a person, Rav says, he wasn't serious, he just gave a longer border because it's hard to define it. And they're saying, no, it's very defined. It's a Keneged Reish Tar. Here, it's like that. Shasik Rav didn't say anything. Now, sometimes Shasik Rav would mean that he admitted to them. So, Shaila here, exactly, did he admit to them? Or perhaps Rav had a Kabbalah. He had a tradition that this is how it is, and therefore he didn't want to argue with them because they were right. Based on logic, they were right, but based on his tradition, they're wrong. So he had nothing to explain to them. We continue. Here we go. Beautiful. Reuven and Shimon own 2 pieces of land on the east side. Sorry. I just thought we could get rid of the red here for a second, but okay. And Levi Yehuda own on the left side, on the west. Ma'ariv. And he depicted the same thing that he did before. He did a long line and a short line. In this case, says Rav, why did he do it like that? He should have just said, I'm selling you between Reuven and Levi. Or he could have said, I'm selling you between Shimon and Yehuda, which is half the center field. Why did he say, I'm selling you the field that's between Reuven and Shimon and Levi? Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Obviously, he meant to do something like this. So even in this case, this is where Rav says that it's Keneged Reish Tar that we give interesting shaped land. With the Havel because he should have written the Reuven Keneged Levi. That's it. Adkan. Now, you don't have to be goyrus. You don't have to even read this. It means the same thing. With the Shimon Keneged Yehuda, like Tosis says it like that. The Ram says Reuven Keneged Levi. But the point is very simple. If he's serious, he should have said, I'm selling you between Reuven and Levi, and it would have meant a half a field. Because he said Reuven and Shimon, now we have to extend it downwards all the way to the bottom of Shimon's field, and to correspond to the bottom of Levi's field, and then you have a interesting shaped field. Shmamino Keneged Reish Tar Huda Omerle, and that's the end. More, we have more Geshmak stuff. Metzer Reuven Mizrach Umayrov, Metzer Shimon Tzofa and Vedara, and Rabboisai, here we go. Reuven owns 2 fields on both sides of the red field, on the right and the left, east and west. Shimon owns 2 fields above and below, north and south. So when you're selling the field, you should be very specific. I'm selling you a field that's between 2 of Shimon's fields and 2 of Reuven's fields. If you don't do that and you just say, I'm selling you a field that's between Reuven and Shimon, it'll end up something like this. What's between Reuven and Shimon? Half of what you thought. So you, the buyer, you should be very careful that you should mention both Shimon fields and both Reuven's fields, and then you'll get the whole entire square. But if you just say 1 Reuven and 1 Shimon, here's a field that's adjacent to Reuven and Shimon, or it could be the green part that's next to the red. It could be either or, but it's not the entire square. It's half of the square. It's a triangle. It could be the triangle red. It could be the green triangle. So and now we're going to do an intim tzalomer. If you don't like this, but what about the next case? And if you don't like the next case, what about the next case? Geshmak stuff, Rabbi Isai, it makes for very beautiful pictures, flags of different countries. I don't know what. Ibaylo, we can do an MDY flag based on these things. Ibaylo, Siem Lois Hakronois Mao. Here we go. Oh. So we have the center field. Let's look at the center. What's on the corner? On the corner of the center field, we have field number 1. Then we go down on the right side to field number 3. That's a corner. Field number 5 is also on a corner. Field number 7. So the odd numbers are on the corners. 1, 3, 5, 7. That's what he wrote in the contract. I'm selling you a field that's between 1, 3, 5, 7. Why didn't he mention 2, 4, 6, 8? The even numbers that are actually the entire length of the field, that would have been a little smarter. Mao. Did he mean you fill in the dots? You know, we used to, when we were kids, we used to draw, fill in the dots. You go from here to here to here to here, and then you have a guy eating an ice cream. So over here, he said fill in the dots. Fill in the dot between 1 and 3, 3 and 5, 5 and 7, and then you'll get a nice square in the middle. But he didn't do that. So maybe he was trying to sell you This is what he wrote, the colorful ones. So perhaps he meant that, the entire center, or he meant to connect the dots 1 to 5, 3 to 7, and it ends up they're telling you an X, only the red area in the center. Now, V'imtim Tzvi, you're going to say, no, that doesn't work. Kimin gam mal. Gam is a letter in the alphabet. I think it's the third letter. A, B, Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Gam. I think it's the third. And basically, it looks like a chaf, or in English, we call it an L. So what if he depicted an L on the field? He's trying to sell him the center field, and he depicted L's here. Kimin Gam. He drew out between, like instead of saying 2 and 3, he said here, it's like this and like this. So do you continue the green? Just take the green all the way up to number 8, and you take the green on the bottom and you go all the way to number 5. Because you just make it a full square, and therefore it includes the entire field. Or if you want to be smart about it, no, I only meant this little part. I only meant in the Rashbam would be like all the way on the bottom, you see what a gam is, goes to, and you fill in the gaps, so you get like a little strip, a red strip, but you chop out 2 triangles that you leave to the seller. Now we turn to Daf Yomi. And before we ask the question, sponsored by Yisrael Sher, Construction Management and Supervision. He's a great guy, Rabbi Yisrael Sher. Very, very nice guy. And the LifeShare community protecting families today before tomorrow's unexpected loss. And Kidnovations LLC in honor of my Uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman and official and as a for Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga, who I happened to spend Shabbos with here in Oxnard. And he told me that he's actually coming to the Shabbaton, which is a big surprise for me. So, be Gebaldik. If you want to meet Akiva Simcha Ben Fayga, you have to come to Shabbaton. But do me a favor, don't try to convince him anything. Don't try to chat to him. Just be nice to him. Thank you. Rivka Yehuda's Bas Yafa Chaya. Now, says the Gemara. He finds out that he said this and she's going, I'm not coming. Beserugimau. Check this out. You have all these people that own fields around the field that we're talking about. Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, everybody. What if you only mentioned where the green lines are? By Levi's field, by Shimon's field, by Yosef's field, by Yisachar. But you forgot about Reuben, Binyomin, Zvulun, and Yehuda. Do you continue the square? Or, we say he sold them pizza shapes, which is not a normal thing to do. Bizrugam out, take. So all these questions we leave as is. Zog the Gemara, what do we have here? 23 minutes. Matzale Metzer Rishon or Metzer Shenu Metzer Shlishi. Here we go. He told him, I'm selling you where it says 1, 2, and 3, but he didn't say anything about 4. He did like a ches. I just got a text message from Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein. So Rabbi Yisrael, when you watch this, you'll know that I saw it on Motzei Shabbos. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't read the whole thing, but I read some of it, like I always do. Not yours, just in general, because they keep on coming. Anyway, I forgot to shut off my WhatsApp on the screen. So Motzer Loi Metzer, he did a ches, a U, but he didn't do the top part. You fill in the gap. It's a continuation of the same Shabbos that we had until now. Umetzer Revi Loi Motzer Loi. Omarav Kona Kol Chutz Memetzer Revi, says Rab, we have a 3-way machlokes. Take a look at the purple right underneath where it says 4. He doesn't acquire that area. Shmuel says, he argues, he gets everything. Boom, the whole red. Why? Because it's obvious what he's trying to do. When a guy sells you a U shape, he needs to fill in the gap on top. Ravasi says he only acquires the gray part Why? Because let me take it back a step. I forgot to mention that when Rav says that he gets everything besides, let's go back to Rav for a second over here. So what's that gray? That's the width of a plow. So when we go to Ravasi, he says, but that's all he gets is the width of a plow. Why? Basically, he holds like Rav, but he takes it a step further. He holds like Rav that the guy left over something, and Rav says only one plow worth. But Ravasi says no. Not only did he leave by the fourth border, he's left it by all three borders, 1, 2, and 3, and that's what he's getting. So now we have two lashonas in Rava. First one is that the halacha is, and the Gemara is going to make a nice sikum, a nice synopsis at the end. And with that, we're going to finish for today. Rava says the halacha is the guy acquires everything besides Metzrevi, which is like Rav. Let's see Rav. Boom. He gets everything besides the fourth one. And that's only if it's not where the gray line is, but rather where the purple is. Of a mavla, but if it's where the gray line is, kana, he acquires it. V'chilui mavla, and when it's in the purple part, if it's something that's valuable as a field, for instance, it has a whole row of palm trees, as you can see right here, or it's a certain size that you plant 9 kav, which is 3,750. You double that for feet, because each amma of 3,750 amma, square amma, so do that in double in feet. A very nice sized area, but it doesn't have these beautiful trees, or doesn't have the size 3750 amma. Kana, since it's not a significant field, you acquire it as just part of your field. Michlal, but I can infer from this, when it is part here, like, let's go back over here to Rav. When it is the gray area, which is under or between border 1 and 3, not above like in the purple. Even if it has something significant, or it's a significant size, it doesn't matter. It's muvla. It's swallowed in within the 1 and the 3. You acquire it. And some say Rava said very differently. The halacha is you acquire everything, even the fourth one. In other words, exactly like Shmuel. You acquire everything. But only like in this case, where you see over here, the red is between the 1 and the 3, not above by the purple. But if it's in the purple area, you don't acquire it. And also when it's inside that area below, doesn't have anything significant on it like palm trees, or it has 9 kav, even if it's mivla, even if it's swallowed in, you're not koined. And we're going to make a nice synopsis, and then everything is going to be understood. I can infer from this that if it's above, if it's muvla, if it's already swallowed in, I'm very makbid and I have to have all conditions. But if it's above, I don't have to have any conditions. You're not koined, no matter what. You're not koined. So, the Gemara makes the synopsis. And I saw it says, I don't think it was the Rashbam, that this is not the Gemara, because it's very rare for the Gemara to do something like this. The Gemara hardly ever makes a synopsis and gives you a bottom line kind of thing. So this is more of the Go'ainim coming later on and saying, we can hear from both Lashonis of Rava. Now what? The when it comes to the main field, he didn't leave anything out of the sale. Everything's included in the sale. We could, from both lashonas, if it's under the purple and there's nothing and it's not significant, 100% you kite it according to both lashonas. But if it's in the purple area and it has something significant on it, then according to all lashonas, you're not kite it. Where's the machlokes? Mavla, if it's on the lower in the red area, and it has palm trees, or if it's above in the purple area, loy mavla, and doesn't have palm trees, then we have a machlokes. It can go in either direction, either like the first lashon of Rava or like the second lashon of Rava. What do we do? Should the daina in this sugya means that the dain will decide who to give it to based on his logic and only his logic. Rabbi Sai, 31 minutes. Have a wonderful day.